we'll start at the Etihad. Manchester City coming off a midweek defeat in the Champions League. That means they play Club Brugge this week and have to win that game to be sure of Champions League football. But they turn their attention to the Premier League against a Chelsea team that have surprised one or two people this season. It was always going to be a test for Manchester City. What was your takeaways, Rob? A couple of the new signings started the game.
Yeah.
There was a bit of luck maybe at Pep's rebuilding of what Manchester City might look like. What did you think about the selections and the game in general?
Well, the selections is part of the story, isn't it? You know, we know that they've signed 3 players, and we know that they're kind of once those players involved straight away. Marmoush started on the left-hand side. Omar Marmoush, $78 million from Eintracht Frankfurt. Looked very bright.
Yeah.
Is a little bit different to what City have got in terms of runs in behind. It looks like he likes the direct approach.
Yeah.
And I thought he played really close to Earle and Haaland, which is, again, something a little different. Usually it's the wingers that stay really wide. They receive the ball, they dribble. Grealish is a little different. So Marmoush offers something different. I'm excited to see how that develops.
Yeah.
The 20-year-old centre-back, Rob, was a story in the game. Abdelkir Kuzanov, this young Uzbek international player from Lens in French football, 20 years of age, got the start. A start in this game, you know, with the champions Manchester City against Chelsea, and he had a nightmare start. I think everybody knows that. He had a bit of I think he was super nervous. His first touch was a guided header back to the goalkeeper, which didn't find its way there. Chelsea jumped on it. The 2 forwards, Nicholas Jackson, dumps on it and knocks it aside to Madueke to score in the 3rd minute. Yeah. And then actually the next few minutes, he also looked a little shaky.
Yeah, he gave the ball away a couple of times, didn't he? Give a free kick.
He gave a ball away a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's incredible jump up, you know.
To that point, Rob, let's start with Kuzanov, because a lot of talk about him, you know, potential, size, strength, all the good things you've read and heard. In hindsight, would you say Pep possibly made a bit of a mistake there, giving him his debut, sticking it? I mean, this is a Premier League against a blue chip opposition, maybe not, you know, playing as well as they can, but that's a big call, isn't it, to go from French football, 20 years of age, into a team that's not particularly playing and defending as well as it has in the past. It was a big call. They got away with it. He came off in the second half, 15 minutes second half. He came off, got a bit of a cheer. Nice hook from Pep Guardiola. Yeah. But do you think if he could play that back again, do you think Pep might go, you know what, I could have brought him on. Could have brought him on for the last 30 minutes rather than that first hour. The last thing you want as a new player, for the manager, for the club, for the player himself, is to start off with a bit of a nightmare. Shaky.
Yeah, because, you know, John Stones came on, Rob, and I'm not sure what the fitness is with John Stones. He's struggling this season to be consistent out there. He plays a little bit. He then has to be rested or put on the bench. I guess he wasn't ready to start, but he came on after, 50-something minutes into the game. So it's not the kid's fault, really. As a 20-year-old, that's a big decision from Pep. Pep made a mistake. Unless there's nothing else, no other options. And you look at the bench, and Victor Rice, the other... The young Brazilian that signed as well was on the bench. Savinho, Kevin De Bruyne, Grealish, John Stones, O'Reilly, Lewis. I mean, could he have played? I mean, he's just running out of players. That's why he signed a couple of defenders there. So I say it's a mistake, thinking that John Stones maybe could have started. Yeah. But
we don't know. I mean,
we don't know.
Medically.
I mean, he played. John Stones played, Rob, 35 minutes? 40 minutes?
Yeah. So you think
maybe he could have started that and done it the other way around. And now Kuzanov has to
be ready
people's
initial perspective.
But he can't. But they won't unsee it, will they?
No. Everybody will remember the missed header he doesn't get, the header he tries to go back. They gave the ball away a little bit, and he looked to Rob physically. Just looking at him, it looked like it was getting to him a little bit,
frozen a little bit,
which is difficult. And listen, we've all been there. And the other thing is, by the way, he'll get through it. And
fans are great. Fans are good.
Are brilliant. And he'll get to it, and one day in maybe 12 months he'll look back and go, "Oh, remember my first game? Remember my debut and my start?"
Yeah, and like I think you said earlier on today, Rob, where you said, "Well, maybe Pep knew what he was doing. He kept him out there for the second half.
Yeah,
he brought him off after like 8 minutes. It's almost like let's get some appreciation from the supporters because I mean I don't know whether that's a right call or whether you just slip him off at half time. I don't know, but he'll never forget it. I think Rebecca said, like, you feel for his family, really. It's such an occasion. It's such a day.
Parents are there.
But he's young. He's got he'll get loads of opportunities to persuade and to show people what he can really do, and let's hope that he becomes a fan favourite. But that was just a rough way of doing it. And that started off Chelsea, Rob, and I think from that point, I know they got a chance to make it 2-0.
Yeah, a couple of chances, I thought, to make it 2.
But I was still disappointed with Chelsea, Rob. After that start, go and grab the game. Go and take the game to Man City. Go and test their resolve. Go and add more pressure onto the defence.
Are they in that kind of form, though, Rob? Are they in that kind of mindset?
Well, they can do that, though.
They can, but they haven't been particularly playing that well. I watched the game, I was doing the game against Wolves this week. It was in the balance for a while against Wolves. Ended up getting the job done. I know what you're saying, and I think a good Chelsea, an early season Chelsea, we might have seen them take control of the game, but I don't quite feel they're in that moment as things stand.
Yeah. You're right. It's just, but they've got it in them.
I
know
it's
what
still
you're
a
saying
strong team. That's what's got to come out of a team.
Is that the next step? Well, it's got to be the next step. If they want to go on and win things, they've got to be able to go to the home of the champions and put on a performance and show like we're the new kids coming up and we're going to be all over you and whether it's just what you're saying there, the form isn't good. They just didn't. They couldn't. They didn't. I don't think they really went for the game as to say, puff out the chest, say, come on, we're here to stay.
I sensed it was one of them, and again, just slightly different, not totally different view, but I sensed like, and we've all played in games, sometimes, you go 1-0 up in a couple of minutes, and the other team are like all over it, and like, when I was playing, I'd always say to the boys, come on, let's steam in here, let's go and get a second and get us. And I just didn't feel as though Chelsea did that. I thought they had a couple of chances.
They had a couple of chances, but it wasn't through dominating.
No, it wasn't through, but you got good chances of the game. You got a debutant centre-back who's having a bit of a time of it. I just thought make the most of those opportunities because Manchester City, as the game played out, will come back into things and will have their moments. And I just felt like there was a 15 or 20-minute spell early in the game that Chelsea could have put a very different imprint on things, but it wasn't as it happened. And fair to play to Manchester City because goal down after the defeat against PSG, conceding 4 goals in the manner they did, to go 1 down against the Chelsea team that still has its threats. Eventually get back Gvardiol from that left-hand side that I thought played really well with Mamouche. I like him, by the way, Rob.
Yeah, no, he looks lively, doesn't he?
Different option, bit more pace, he's dynamic, very good runner. Just offside a couple of times. Just his timing wasn't quite right, but looks a threat. And then they get the goal through Haaland. Long ball assist from Ederson.
Yeah.
Haaland gets the goal, and then Foden finishes off, and it ends up a 3-1 result for Manchester City, which was needed right now and closes the gap in Champions League spots.
They jump up to the top 4 positions right now. I think the standouts a little bit. Phil Foden. That's 4 goals now scored in straight, which he's never done before. Apparently, our stats guys tells us so that's good for him. Foden looks happy, looks a threat, looks lively again. Erling Haaland's goal, Rob, is another talking point, and you know where we're going with this, and the Chelsea fans will know where we're going with this. Robert Sanchez made an error, thought he could maybe get to the ball before the Norwegian striker did. He realised he was no way getting to it, and then tries to retreat onto the goal line, and then he's in that no man's land that we talk about the goalkeepers never want to get into. Because Haaland knows that he's in between. He just has to lift the ball over him, which he did really well, to put Man City back into the game. Now, Robert Sanchez has had various moments. I think coming into the game, we get all our stat pack, and it's like a reading, like, is it 4 errors leading to goals?
He's 5 now. He's
I know,
5.
but before the game,
it was 4 errors.
Joint
One of them
second.
last week on Monday against Wolves. He drops the ball for Wolves and will score. So it's been recently as well.
Another mistake today. I think it's pretty clear, isn't it, that they're going to look to upgrade the goalkeeper situation.
They have to, Rob. They have to. Because I go back to, I think I mentioned Liverpool, when Alisson came after Mignolet. Liverpool were a decent team with Mignolet in goal, but every now and then, you just let a goal in.
It's a good comparison.
And for all the good football and all that you got, if your goalkeeper's letting them in, you just don't have the security. I kind of feel that's where Chelsea are getting with Robert Sanchez.
Yeah. Also on Chelsea, Rob, Enzo Maresca, really great start. Lots of praise certainly from me. I love what he was doing with the way that they try to play. The tactical side of it's really impressive for me. Is this a blip? Like, is it down to? And I'll kind of start with this. Yeah. It seems like the young players a little inconsistent. Yeah. They lack a little bit of experience. Yeah. They need to kind of live through these experiences. Is that it, or is this a natural drop off? Where are you in their form?
No, I'm with the point of a youngish group of players who have still got to get through some difficult times and come out the other side. Again, I'll maybe labelling the point. I thought it was a 15-minute game for Chelsea to be 2-0 up, and it's a different match. Now, maybe that's a learning. I look at the centre-back partnerships of Colwell and Chalobah. I'm saying, is that really going to be strong enough? Are they going to be robust enough to be top 6, challenging for title centre-backs? They maybe can grow into that, but they're not there yet, Rob. Nicholas Jackson, still to me, I've still got a question mark at the very top end of the pitch. And I know these days when he disappoints, and I know these other days when he's a threat.
But do you believe in him? Do you believe in him long term?
But that's the question. Do I believe in him long term? I don't, in terms of where. If Chelsea are talking about challenging for titles, I think you have to have more consistency. There were things that he did yesterday on the weekend in the game, Rob, where.
But we see this from him.
We do, and I know, and that's him. And I'm not saying we've all got our flaws. Geez, I had many of them. But I'm saying if Chelsea want to be where at the top end, we've got to get better. He's got to get better.
He has improved.
He has improved.
He's just stalling a little bit at the moment. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's still. He could be one of them useful. Sometimes looks awkward, but he might bang in some goals, Rob. And I don't know. We'll see on that. Anybody else stand out for you? Man City?
Well,
anybody?
I'm going to go to my underappreciated performer of the weekend, and it's a guy who many will think, well, is he underappreciated? I'm going to go to little Bernardo Silva, my friend, who I just keep an eye on in certain games, and particularly, not just for this, but particularly when Kuzanov was having a real difficult time of it. Bernardo Silva almost came from the right side of the pitch and got close to Kuzanov.
Got off his toes, really. Got
the ball off him a little bit, made sure nobody was taking, that Chelsea weren't focusing on him. I think had a word in his ear once or twice just to pep him up, keep going, well done. He's a little diamond, mate. And,
he is a little diamond.
And the new players have come in, and the young, the 20-year-olds are here, and they're going to be so important for City going forward. But a couple of old heads, a couple of standard bearers, a couple of people who keep the standard of what's required. Bernardo Silva is a little diamond for Pep Guardiola to have in games, round the dressing room and round the football pitch. And I saw a lovely quote from him, just a quick story, where I think it was Kyle Walker at the start of the season was talking about how he was, going to the gym and training really hard and wanted to get himself fit. Bernardo Silva went, yeah, I'll be on the training pitch. A bit like he's going to do it with the ball. Yeah. And his bravery and his strength and his thing is about getting on the ball, Rob, and keep. When Manchester City was struggling just to net a few passes together against Chelsea, he went back there and he controlled and got everybody back playing and settled it down. And I just think he's an absolute diamond to have for a manager. And I don't think he's always as well appreciated. It wasn't what he was necessarily doing on the ball.
Certain people, I'm sure the manager appreciates him and the Man City fans appreciate him. But in general, the neutrals, what a little player, isn't he? What a little player.
Great player.
Last question for you.
Yeah.
Man City, in terms of, obviously 100% would be at their very best. Where are they right now? Are they over under 80%?
Yeah, around 75.
Still.
I'll tell you what I did like a couple of times, Rob, and it was part of the Haaland goal. I liked when he went back to front a little bit quicker into Haaland, and then Mamouche and people went and joined him as an alternative to possession. If people are going to do the man-to-man press.
That's a little bit of future that Pep might mix up a little bit more.
Mix it up a little bit more. Yeah. He's talked about that pressing man-to-man and how
harder to play.
Harder. Now and then going into the big lad with good runners around him might not be the worst thing. So. Good for City to get the 3 points, get themselves back into Champions League positions. For Chelsea, obviously a little bit of a poor run. Got to kind of get out this funk and get themselves going again.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And if you want even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.